come on in the house, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? I'm your host, Lady J, and your host, Key. We are here together this evening. It is time for Victory Talk. How y'all doing today? Happy Friday to you. I am so excited about what we have to share with you guys tonight. It's so much information. And so we just want everybody just to come on in. Let's just do some house cleaning real quick. Let's do some housekeeping. So listen, we want you guys to like and share and subscribe. So right now, I want you to grab your phones, or I want you to grab your tablets or your laptops, and I want you to run on over to our YouTube page, Victorious Living Faith Ministries, and like and share and subscribe, because this way you can tell somebody else. You can share the information that is shared with each and every one of you on Victory Talk with somebody else, because what we have to share tonight with you guys is so important. We're going to talk about that thing that keeps our bodies, living and breathing and moving. I'm not talking about just the soul. I'm not just talking about God, but I'm talking about what God put in us to help us to move and to be able to live and to breathe. And so if something happens to our heart, it shuts us down. So we are talking about a vital organ tonight. So I want y'all to share it. Go on over to Twitter, like, share, and subscribe. All right. Then we want you to stop by our Facebook page and our Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. Text somebody, tweet somebody, call somebody, email somebody, tell them Victory Talk is on, and it's about to be a whole lot of information. So I hope y'all got y'all pen and y'all pad and something to take notes with. And if you have questions, just get ready. We have some special guests that are going to come in. We have some nurses that are going to be coming in and joining in with us. Y'all know that the third Friday of every month is usually our Fit for Life session. However, tonight we are doing our Fit for Life session on our second Friday, because it's close to Valentine's Day, and we think about Valentine's Day and the heart and all that good jazz. And so we just changing things up a little bit. So we just wanted to just go ahead and bring you guys our Fit for Life segment early this month. So I'm ready. We got one of our guests. She has gotten in, and our other guest, she has gotten in, and y'all gonna see them shortly. So, like I said, it's time for Victory Talk. How you doing today, Key?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good. It's Friday. Awesome. I cannot complain.
All right now. Y'all snow melting?
It's almost gone. It's slush.
Hallelujah. But our special guests have just jumped into the building. Pass me back my phone, because I gotta like, share, and subscribe. Y'all share. So our special guests have jumped in the building. I'm so excited to have our sisters. Both of these ladies, I'm standing in awe of just how amazing they are and the jobs that they do. It is just so wow, just wow. And I know that it has taken a lot for them to go through what they have gone through educational wise to get to where they are now. But we know that it is for the greater good. And just in the front, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to both of you ladies. Our sheroes, hallelujah. And so we just want to let's just go ahead and get y'all in. So first we have with us tonight my sister Tawana Henry. Say hey, Tawana. Okay,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Can you turn your volume up just a little bit more?
I'm working with Mayana's laptop. Never used this thing, so therefore.
There you go. Well, you are doing good. You look beautiful.
Oh, how you did your interview the other day, Shay?
I know. I went out looking like a boss.
Doing the best.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Tawana, so you want to share anything before I move on to Shay? I know that you are a nurse. I know that cardiac health is not necessarily your field of expertise, but you were still willing, and I love you and I appreciate you for just having such a willing spirit. So
Yes.
everybody, to our guests, I present to you Tawana Williams.
Okay. Can you hear me a little better now?
We can hear
Yes.
you awesomely.
Okay. I just was trying to get a little closer to her laptop because I'm not sure where the volume is still. And she left me, but it's okay. See how the kids abandon us. Okay. I'm currently still working from home, thank goodness, for the moment. MedStar Visiting Nurses Association. Actually, we changed it to MedStar Health now. We had to change it because we were actually getting confused with the Visiting Nurses Association of Maryland, which was not a good thing because then you would have patients that were constantly saying, oh no, the nurse came out, but they were getting us confused with that particular agency. So we're actually, like I said, doing work in the homes with a couple of not a couple, but quite a bit of COVID patients, just the same. But we have some of our people that are working throughout various areas here in Maryland. But I have been a nurse for about 8 years now. I think I want to say I think it's about 8 years. But I've been with MedStar Health for 25 years. I just, went through the ranks, went back to school, and decided to become a nurse. But it's quite rewarding, and I'm happy.
You broke up. Whatever you said at the end, it kind of fell off. What you said now?
Sorry. I said I've been with MedStar Health for 28 years, and it's been quite rewarding working with this particular agency. I've gone through different areas, but I'm happy with what I do, and I'm happy with the patients, the load that we're having right now, which has picked up since we actually started back going into the homes more with some of these patients that aren't too worried about us coming in, because we still get some of those that'll tell us, I know I don't want to visit today because they're worried about COVID just the same.
Yeah. All right now. Thank you. You just shared a whole lot that I wasn't even aware of. She was actually physically in the hospitals, but yes, that is really, really a challenging task that you guys have.
Yeah.
So we are going to jump on over to my sister Shay Brown. Y'all, I gotta tell y'all, I was really trying to. Okay, so y'all know that Shay is our resident Fit for Life.
Yes.
So I pull on her for so much, but right now, her family is in the midst of a season, and so I've been trying not to pull on her because I know, when you're going through something and you're still taking care of your family, you're still taking care of your children, and you're working and taking care of yourself, and this, that, and the third, just to have some more extra on your plate can get a little weighty. So I've been trying not to pull on her. So I really, really was not going to pull her in tonight.
Thank
you. And so eventually I messaged her about maybe an hour and a half ago.
Oh boy.
About an hour and a half ago. Because as I was, going over my notes and my research, because I just like to be prepared. I'm like, ooh, this is a lot of information. I know I did the research and we pulled it. Right. I see you, Key.
Yeah. Listen, after I was done researching and stuff, I'm like, I'm a whole nurse now, y'all, unofficially. Like, it's a lot.
Literally, my head was throbbing. I was like, oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. And I don't want to give nobody no wrong information. I don't want to, answer any questions the wrong way. I said, Lord, I need Shay. I need Shay. So, because I know that this is her field of expertise. I said,
yeah.
Shay. So I got my, phone, and I sent her a message, instant message. when I tell you, sister was lickety split, I mean, she responded real quick, and she was like, "Oh, let me pull myself together. I got you." I started crying. I'm a big baby, y'all. I started crying. I so appreciate you. So I'm not gonna give you a background. I'm gonna let you give your background, and then we just gonna jump into our conversation. So let me just introduce to everybody, Shay Brown.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lady J. Thank you, my little sister Kiara, for having me on with my other sister Tawana. Even though she might not have an extensive background in cardiology, she definitely dealt with the COVID patients that can go into some type of cardiac event. So she's just as qualified as I am. So I was like, you didn't need me all that much. My big sister had me. So, but it's always good to be amongst family, okay? And I consider each and every last one of you my spiritual sisters as well as my sisters that's always there when I need them. So I always try to make sure that I am also available to you guys as well. So just to let you know about my day, Lady J. Okay, I worked last night in the hospital. Okay, I had to do some errands. I had to go to the dentist. This side of my mouth was numb. I felt that it was in my chest. I finally laid down and go to sleep at 1 o'clock. I had to get up at 4 o'clock because I had a Zoom meeting. And then when you text me, I had 2 Zoom meetings today. So I got on another Zoom after you. So I'm like, geez, another Zoom call? And I'm like, this was the time that I was supposed to be getting on my Peloton. You know me, I'm like OCD about this exercise thing. So I said, all right, fine. I'm going to do these 2 Zoom meetings. And then when you text me, I'm like, well, when do I have time to squeeze her in? But you know what? Anytime is always a good time to do anything for my sister, Lady J. So I just thank God that I was up, and I did have those Zoom calls to where I had to be up to get your DM message, because if it wasn't for those Zoom calls, I would not have been able to answer your call for help. So your SOS was definitely and greatly answered very quickly. And I again, like I said, I definitely appreciate you always reaching out to me. And like I said, I'm always here to give an abundance of information that I have, because it doesn't make sense to hold on to it and not share with the world, right? So to give people a little bit of background about myself. I am a nurse, 15 years as well. I am a graduate family nurse practitioner with the CRNP at MSN, and I'm board certified. So I am also a personal trainer. I'm right now sitting to study for my certification as a health coach and as a medical exercise specialist. So there's a difference in being a personal trainer and a medical exercise specialist. The difference between those two is that a personal trainer just basically just helps to tone the body. Me, I'm more disease specific. Not specific, but specific. So I am more disease specific in zoning in on people that may have things like osteoporosis, people that might have certain cancers that cause them to be weak. I love being a personal trainer, but I feel that with my background, my educational background, that I should be doing more that's more disease prevention or disease maintenance focused. So that is what I'm currently doing right now. So we are going to take all of that good stuff and combine it all up under one building. Hopefully we'll have that building by this year. So we are in the process right now, as I said before, trying to open up a wellness center. Okay, we will be opening up a wellness center. My colleague and I are about to take a class on assisted living facilities, because that's another thing that we want to venture out into as well. And not just have an assisted living facility, but incorporate that into exercise and well-being, okay? Health well-being, because most people, when they go to assisted living, they think that everything is over. But not with Fit for Life. I mean, just like Mother Ernestine has always told us, age is nothing but a number. So we want to try to incorporate that into the assisted living facilities that we plan on opening. So it's not the wellness center that we're trying to open. We are really trying to change the way people see getting older, okay? Because there's a difference in getting old and getting older. Me, I just got another year older this year, okay? But I'm not old by any means necessary, okay? So, I mean, we want people to see that there is a difference in the two. So, hopefully, by the grace of God, we will be opening up our wellness center that will have a clinic that focus on people with illnesses and diseases. We're going to have our gym that has like physical therapy there, disease prevention, and medical exercise specialists like myself to be able to help people with specific illnesses and diseases. And we're also going to have our vegan bar, our vegan restaurant, which is not like a whole restaurant, but you know how people always have like the little bar to the side and stuff like that. So this is my vision. This is what I plan on doing with the rest of my nursing career. So having me on to speak tonight definitely is focused on what I plan on doing in the Wellness Center. So until we get it open, yes, every opportunity that I can have to be able to explain disease process. And, you know, the heart is something that I've been doing ever since I've been a nurse, cardiovascular system. So anytime I have that opportunity to speak about trying to better your health, I jump to it.
So listen, you say until you get in your building. Ma'am, no, you cannot drive. Look, I'm praying for you to get in your building. You can't drop me off as you get.
I can't drop you where?
You can't drop us off after you get in your building.
Oh no. I'm hoping that Lady J come there and do live shows in the building. What are you talking about? With an audience. Hello?
We good.
Audience. There's ways of making things work. And you know what? Instead of having people chiming in on Facebook and say, where's your questions? You have an audience right there to where we can pass the mic around and have them ask live questions to you. So let's make this real.
Oh, yes. Girl, you should see producer Pastor Phil over in the corner like.
Yeah. We put something else on him, I know. But your mind is working in the same direction that I'm trying to go. So that's a great thing.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it tonight. Let's get into it tonight. Key, you talked about when we were talking, you know, you were going over the warning signs.
Yes. So as I was researching some of the common warning signs or symptoms that I found was to be pain in the area between the shoulder blades, the arms, chest, and jaw, the left arm and the upper abdomen, and then dizziness, fatigue, lightheadedness, clammy skin, cold sweats, and or sweating. So I wanted to, the question that I had to you ladies as far as those symptoms are, what are some of the common ones that you typically see when, you know, you either see patients or that people report having? Because I know that things change a lot. And I know initially there were only a few, but then, you know, they just turned into this broad spectrum of things. And then we also have been researching that women have different symptoms than men. So could you shed a little bit of light on, you know, some of the types of symptoms that people report or that you see people having?
Well, first, I want to talk about a friend of mine actually who was going to come on to speak specifically. She is one of the nurses that work with us. She literally was at work one day going to see patients, had those same symptoms, but somewhat similar. But what she did is she found that she started having cold sweat. She started getting a little clammy walking to the patient's house. I remember she saying that. She said, Twana, I had no idea. The same day I was going to see a patient, I was experiencing the pains. She said once I actually started walking, she stopped walking, sat down on the because the patient told her to have a seat there, have a seat over there. So she had a seat. The symptoms started to diminish, but as soon as she stood up and started walking, going towards the patient, she started experiencing it again. I said, is that like when you first started getting, you know, started having the chest pain? She said herself. She said, yeah. She said, but they were like intermittent, really quick with her. She stood up, took a few steps, and it got very excruciating. The patient herself had to call for help for her that day. So she said, basically what she was saying is, don't ignore those symptoms. They're simple as something that you might think that's going on with you. She said, and it felt minor to her at first. And I said, you know, it was weird because for a minute we hadn't seen her. but this is what she was experiencing as a female. She it was a sternum pain that she was experiencing. So I told her, I said, from now on, any of us can't take these minor things that we come across for granted. How about you?
Absolutely. You got anything to chime in on that, Shay?
No, absolutely. I completely agree with Juana. I mean, everyone, they experience these symptoms differently, especially women. We are like most of us women are the backbone of the family. And, our symptoms are so vague, where we might think that we might be having like an upset stomach or might be having acid reflux. But the thing with the chest pain and blown out heart attack, look for left jaw to the arm. People, they look for that. They look for to get sweaty, or they look for their heart to the same thing. But when you have those vague symptoms, you think to yourself, well, is this a heart attack? Well, you do know that a heart attack is left-sided jaw pain, radiates down to the arm, goes into your back sometimes. You get sweaty, you get palpitations. But that's not all, because we women, our symptoms are so big that we are more at risk of having a heart attack than a man, especially African American women, because we might have something that day that we think might be causing us to have acid reflux, or not even so much acid reflux, just abdominal discomfort. Okay, not even so much acid reflux. We might just have like stomach discomfort. We might feel sick to our stomach. That's the word I'm looking for. We might feel sick to our stomach and not know that we're actually having a heart attack. Many women, in my experience, have had silent heart attacks and did not know that they were having heart attacks. When we look at the person's heart, we can see small occlusions, from the technology that they have in the hospital. We can see that they have been having like small occlusions, we can see that they might have had some sort of damage to that part of the heart, because that part, that muscle, will die off. So, I mean, again, like I said, we women, we have to be very, very careful, especially if you are over the age of 55. African American women, if you are over the age of 55, if you smoke, if you are overweight, if you have a faulty diet, if you live a sedentary lifestyle, you are more at risk. Not saying that I can't get it, because I can get it from just being stressed out. Even though I exercise, and that's another whammy that hits us women. We move, we do so much stuff to where we do not realize that we are stressing ourselves out. It could be our jobs, it could be our families, it could be our spouses, it can be outside family, it can be anything. It can be working on a project, okay? And just not giving yourself that time to relax, giving yourself that time to regroup and get yourself together, you can cause the vessels in your body, what I call is vasoconstriction. And when they vasoconstrict, they squeeze so tightly that it blocks off blood supply. It blocks off oxygen, all the important things that's needed to keep the muscles healthy. And when you have that vasoconstriction that can squeeze those vessels so tight, there's a heart attack or a stroke. But again, that's what people, that think when I exercise, I'm in good shape. No, I can have a heart attack too. I allow myself to get stressed out. Okay? So those are things that we women, we have to think about. And those signs, again, like I said, they're very vague. And another thing, another thing for women that are over the age of 55, we start to lose estrogen. That means that we're not getting our menses anymore. Okay? And we get estrogen from having our menses. So when we don't have a menstrual period anymore, that makes us even at a higher risk of having a heart attack. Even if you're 35 and you had a hysterectomy, yes, you too. Okay? If you are not expelling estrogen from your body, that is comes from having a menses, then yes, you are at risk as well. So again, like I said, a lot of women do not know the symptoms. They don't know what can cause it. And we are here to teach you how to prevent it. Right, ladies?
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you.
Jackie, I'm sorry, I was very
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Jump in there.
I think that one of the things that I like either one of you just to spend a little bit more time on is to be clear to people that even the healthiest of persons who exercises daily, eats right, no matter who you are, there's a possibility. And I know that we were as I did this, my studying, and I was looking at the connection of strokes and high cholesterol and diabetes to, and reference to heart disease. But then I also saw a lot about stress. And a lot of stress is not necessarily just physical stress that we put on our bodies, but it's also mental and emotional stresses that I think that contribute to heart disease. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little story about myself, something personal. And I don't tell my business because I feel it's none of your business. But I feel that this is something that can benefit all. And it's something that I'm not ashamed of, but I say, you know what? Enough is enough. I can't take any more. I need my time before I explode. Back in November, I started to get very, very stressed out with work, home. Everybody know I have an autistic daughter that we're now homeschooling. And there was just so many outside factors that was just stressing me out. I called my doctor. I said, hey, look, I'm like, I need something to calm my nerves. I'm not sleeping. I mean, my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. She started talking to me, and instead of putting me on medication, she said, I'm going to give you some time off. I said, well, with this time off, I do not want you to say I cannot exercise, because exercise has always been my scapegoat whenever I'm stressed out. The thing is that when I was exercising, I was running too hard, or I was lifting too heavy. And I was doing that because I'm frustrated at times and stressed, where I was really hurting myself, But I thought that was helping me. But as I began to talk to my doctor, she said, I do not want you to stop exercising. But what I do want you to stop doing is hurting yourself. Okay? I feel that exercise is the remedy for everything. But it can be, if it's used in an appropriate manner, it can be. So I had to step back from everything, even like Lady J said. She wanted me to do a show for her, and I told her I cannot do anything right now. I told her I cannot. I needed this time for myself. So she respected that. And even though she know I'm still going through with personal issues with my family, that one is very sick, I know it kind of like, and I felt her hesitation and the message saying, I know and I need, but the fact of the matter is that I'm okay with everything now. You know what I mean? I have taken that time to be able to process things. And that's something that we women, we don't do. We don't take that time away. We don't take that time off to process things. And the whole time that I took that time off, I used it as a platform to be able to educate people about stress, because stress can cause a heart attack. And I have to use myself to talk about the stress that I was under for people to be able to relate to stress, because they think just because I'm strong doesn't mean that I'm okay all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's what one person actually said. Your life is so different to where I never even knew. That's why I didn't mind telling people it's okay to say that you're not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find that, and I think that we see this so much in our African American community, that we don't like to say that we're not okay. We, you know what I'm saying? We don't. And so I found that I'm seeing, a lot of illnesses and diseases, I say diseases, are showing up so much in our community. And it's because, we don't want to take the time to, pay attention to the warning signs, get the help, and just simply say, hey, I need help. I'm not okay. It's nothing wrong. There's no shame. There's no need to say, feel like, you're being looked down upon, or, that anything is wrong with you. To acknowledge that you need help. And it's just, I'm just seeing that there's a lot. And as I was doing my research, and I just wanted to know what race was, affected more by heart disease. And unfortunately, I wasn't surprised to find out that it's us.
Yes.
It's us. African Americans were 30% more likely to die from heart disease than non-Hispanics or whites. That's a lot.
It's sad. Yeah.
And you know what? Even to piggyback off of that, I found out that it's the number one killer of women over the age of 25 in the United States, regardless of race or ethnicity. And, I'm just like, wow, because, everybody's cancer, we're so used to thinking in our minds that cancer is the number one killer, and it's actually heart disease for women, at least. It's just mind blowing. And then when it says women over 25, I'm just like, yikes, that's young.
Yes, it is. It is. Hey, Miss Victoria. Miss Victoria said, can you explain what congestive heart failure is and how to avoid it?
Absolutely. But before I answer that question, I want Kiara to answer, why do you think the number is so young? I mean, don't be shocked by it, but why do you think that number is so young?
Well, in my researching, I don't know exactly where it is in my notes, but I've read somewhere something about the age and why. In my mind, I'm thinking maybe because, well, number one, we really don't get checkups, the way that we should, and preventative care and taking care of ourselves. That's probably like way high up the list if it's not number one. I know that's one thing that I, call me OCD, call me hypochondriac, whatever it is that you want to call me. I've just learned to, when I have things going on with me, to go to the doctor. I understand that people, may not have health insurance, or they may not be able to afford to go to the doctor. They're worried about bills, but like, if you die, then you're not going to have to worry about anything, so that's my thought process. So I think maybe, to answer your question, either not getting regular checkups, ignoring signs and symptoms, and just not educating themselves enough.
I agree with that, but I'm also going to piggyback to say that, what is the first food that we give our children?
See, I was going to say lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Those golden arches, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
We give our kids the McNuggets, we give our kids the fries, we give our kids the cheeseburgers. And would you believe that children before the age of 18 already start having cholesterol issues? Why?
As soon as you said that, I peeped up and saw my note, and it says those in their 20s have heart attacks because of cholesterol issues. And you see, I knew it was going to come out.
They have cholesterol. If the doctor tell you to stay away from fast foods, why are you giving it to your kids?
Right.
Great.
Good question.
Their arteries are more fragile than yours. And you're starting them off early. And when it comes down to us not going to the doctors, my grandmother and her mama never went to the doctors that much either. But they lived to be in their 80s and 90s. You know why? They didn't go to they cooked their food. Matter of fact, they grew their own food. They killed their own animals and cut them up and ate them themselves. So I'm like, it's lack of education as well, but it is that lifestyle. So
lifestyle, yeah.
we think our lives are much busier than theirs, but it's not. We just make it busier.
Right.
To answer Miss Victoria's question, that is an excellent question, Miss Victoria, and I will be more than happy to answer that for you. Congestive heart failure. There are two types of congestive heart failure. There's your left side and there's your right side. Okay, when a person has left-sided heart failure, congestive heart failure, now we're talking about the left side of the heart. Okay, you will see that person start to get like fingers swelling. They start to get like the legs swelling, all that stuff. You will see that, and that's that left side of the heart because the blood is not actually going through the heart like it's supposed to. It's getting backed up and going back the same way it came. Why? Because your heart is not pumping like it's supposed to anymore. It's actually just pumping so weak because your heart is getting so tired. Now, the reason why the heart gets tired like that, of course, it's because of a faulty diet and lack of exercise. But what happens is that all that salt and all that fluid and stuff, this is your heart. And then you start to have all this fluid come around your heart to where the heart can't beat anymore. And when it gets so much fluid around that heart, the fluid backs up into the system of the body. And that's what we call left-sided heart failure. Okay? Now we're going to talk about that right side. There is a right side. So, yeah. It's not just congestive heart failure. Because when we're pumping the blood out, the blood has to come back in as well. So when I'm talking about the blood has to come back in, that's the left side. And when it doesn't come back in, it gets backed up and goes back to your body. Now let's talk about that right side, okay? Again, here's that heart. Here's all that fluid. And the fluid just don't come because you gave it an invitation to say, hey, look, we're going to have a fluid day on this day, okay? So I need you guys to come on over and surround my heart. No, it festers. It sits like a disease. And it comes on your body. And when it hits you, you don't know what happened. Why? Because you've been enjoying life. You've been enjoying getting around family and eating the same foods that family eat. You've been enjoying going to work and eating the same foods that they eat at your job. So aren't you tired of them bringing us pizzas and donuts?
Yes.
I told my manager, I said, you need to start bringing salads up in here, sister girl.
Yes.
Donuts. And you know what I do? I throw them in the garbage. I sure do.
These sit on the back table.
Donuts, y'all get your donuts because Shay and throw them all. I sure am because we deserve more than that. Give us some fruit. Give me a water bottle. Don't give me anything. I mean, we already can't pee. We have to sit up here and hold our urine. We get UTIs. Now you want to give us heart attacks too? You better stop playing. All right, another story. So now we're going to talk about the right side of the heart. Congestive heart failure on the right side. This is when the heart actually pumps the blood out into the system. But what happens is that, here we go again, that fluid, and it cannot pump the heart blood out. Now, Tawana, we know that the oxygenated blood comes from the lungs, the pulmonary system, okay? And there's this thing called pulmonary hypertension. That is called right-sided heart failure. That is the worst heart failure that you can ever have in your life. If your doctor tells you that you have right-sided heart failure, that is the worst heart failure you can ever have in your life. Ways to prevent it. That diet and exercise. I've done research on diet has helped to reverse illnesses and diseases. Okay? Everybody cannot let the red meat go. Okay? It's okay to have it every now and then, but have it every then and now.
Please say it again for the people in the back.
For the people in the back, to the side.
It's okay to have that red meat because my husband, he's a carnivore. But listening to me, food in that backyard and throw those ribs on. I'm looking at him like, really? But he throw those ribs on. But you know what? I don't cook too much because he does it every then now. Okay, my husband went to the doctor and his blood pressure was 119 over 70 something.
Wow.
He takes no blood pressure medication.
Fantastic.
He takes no cholesterol medication. My husband takes no medication for nothing.
That's me.
And we all know that men over the age of 40 start to develop this thing called erectile dysfunction. I'm just trying to keep it real. The same way you can cause blockages in those arteries here, there's blockages other places as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what causes it.
Wow, we're getting a lot of good information.
That was an excellent question, Miss Victoria.
All right. Anybody else out there got any more questions? This is your opportunity to get your questions answered. I declare I had no idea that there was right-sided and left-sided heart, things. I had no idea. That was very
eye-opening.
Enlightening. Yes, absolutely. Very enlightening. So let's talk about since we started talking about those two types, are there other types of issues with the heart?
Yeah.
A lot of
there's this thing we call HOCM, which is called hypertrophic obstructive compensated. What is it? HOCM. Oh, geez, I forgot what the abbreviations are. But I say the word so much where the abbreviation is called HOCM. And when we give report, that's it. Hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. I'm sorry, that's what it is. I knew it would come to me. That's when your heart, from it trying to work so hard against congestive heart failure, that muscle, it starts to enlarge. If you hit your foot up against the door a few times, won't it swell?
Yes.
And when you have an enlarged heart, that can cause or that can decrease what we call therapeutic blood flow to the body as well. So there are so many things that are so connected to heart disease that we as a culture of people, and it's not just African Americans, it's anyone who's listening, we as a culture of this Western lifestyle that we live, we have to think about, are we really helping ourselves? Are we really taking care of our bodies? And this is what I love to call it. It's called self-care. What kind of self-care do you do for yourself? I'm going to tell you that I exercise. Everybody knows I exercise almost every day. But the self-care that I have learned to adopt for myself is meditation.
I was going to say meditation.
I meditate every day now. Even when I go to work, I go on break, I'll sit back in one of the little empty rooms and I'll tell the nurse, hey, look, I'm going to go on my break. And I'll go to I take my lunch and I'll go to one of the empty rooms and I'll sit there and I'll put the meditation music on and I'll calm myself down. And then I'll go back to work when I'm done meditating. That's one thing that I did pick up when I took my break from being stressed out. I needed to be stressed out because if I wasn't stressed out, I wouldn't have been meditating.
Yeah. Sometimes God has to shut us down.
He shut me completely down.
Won't he do it?
And he has to, because otherwise we won't stop. We just keep going and going, trying to be the Energizer Bunny. Yeah.
No.
Let's talk about medication and side effects.
So there were a lot of different medications that I came across in doing my research, but I just kind of touched on 3 that I found that I figured we could talk about. The first one was the anticoagulants, which I guess for, whoever, not that I'm a professional or anything, but for our viewers, those are considered your blood thinners. Some examples of those were like Eliquis, Pradaxa, heparin, warfarin. And those are supposed to decrease the clotting ability and help to prevent harmful clots from forming. What type of side effects do you usually see, or that people commonly report with those types of medicines?
Before we answer that, because I think it's important that we address this question here.
Oh, I see.
Victoria says, so does the heart repair itself with lifestyle changes, or is the damage not repairable?
Miss Victoria, that is what my wellness center is going to do. I have been following this gentleman by the name of Braxton Montgomery that is out in Houston, Texas. And I'm going to follow his methods to a T. It has shown by living or having a plant-based diet, that you can reverse congestive heart failure, that you can reverse. The reason why you can reverse it because you're giving your body the nutrients that it needs to make what we call new cells, to regenerate. If you're eating those foods like the burgers, the steak, the fried chicken, oh girl, give me some of that fried chicken. Give me some potato salad too. If you're constantly eating all those foods all the time, then those foods are high in cholesterol and fat, and your cells cannot make new cells eating those foods. So with Dr. Braxton Montgomery, and please, can somebody type his name in so they can look him up? So you will know who this man is. You will know who I'm following. And I'm following him to a T.
You said Dr. Braxton Montgomery?
Braxton Montgomery. Okay? That is his name. Look him up. Look him up on YouTube and see how he has changed people who has had what we call an ejection fraction. And remember when I told you about how the heart try to beat? Well, when the heart beats, it pushes blood out like that, so fast. It pushes out on an ejection fraction of what we call 55 to 70%, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody has congestive heart failure, instead of that blood being pushed out, the blood is coming out like this. Because the heart is too weak to push it so vigorously. But Dr. Braxton Montgomery, along with his team of cardiologists there in Houston, Texas, have shown that, has really proven that a plant-based diet and exercise has changed people's heart from pumping out like this to pumping it back out like that. And we're not talking about people at the age of 30, 40, and 50. We're talking about the people at the age of 70, 80, and 90.
Wow.
So imagine what you think it could do for someone that's in their 40s and 50s.
Wow.
That's my wellness center.
Okay.
It's not all about just exercise and diet. We are trying to change people's, I don't want to say, but we want to change the life of doom is what I like to call it. We want to change that. And the only way we can change that is through proper education, which we plan on having nutrition classes as well. And I didn't tell you I'm getting my certification for that too. You have to be certified in so many things to be able to promote yourself as a professional. And I don't mind going to school. You girls know that. It's important to have these degrees. It's important to have these certifications. That's the only way people are taken seriously. Even though I know, having that piece of paper with my name on it speaks volumes. So yes, it can be turned around, Miss Victoria, most definitely. But it's only through a plant-based diet. You cannot play with it.
So let me, with the plant-based diet, so are you saying it's only through a plant-based diet? Plant-based diet.
Remember what I said about every then now? With me, I eat no meat at all. None. The reason why I don't eat meat, picture this. During COVID, we're in COVID right now. How
I know what you Grace say.
Huh?
I know what you Grace say.
Exactly. And then
we talked about it on one of our other shows about how they were doing the animals and
antibiotics, steroids,
make
them bigger. And when you take in those antibiotics, when they give them antibiotics, you put it in your body too. When they give those animals steroids and you have asthma, guess what? You're getting a steroid too.
Yes.
And when they pump them up and make that chicken breast look so big, that's in that water, guess what? There goes your high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't eat meat. Nope. If I can't look, if it can't be grown or if it's not fresh, I don't want it. Pescatarian, I would say do that. If you feel that you have to have something, pescatarian. At least that's better than having the meat. If you want to be a pescatarian, that means just seafood, fish, then that's fine. At least you have not a 90%, but more of a 70 to 80% of changing your fate.
Dang, well, I guess I gotta get rid of that seafood then. I'm trying to be in that 90 number. Look, Shay look at her. You know I'm a whole pescatarian over here. And you talk about a 20% difference change.
Mm-hmm.
Girl.
Yeah.
I'm playing, let me keep my crab meat and my salmon.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do eat salmon every then now because it has vitamin B12. And I don't consume vitamin B12 because I don't eat meat. Sometimes I'll go get the shot. If I don't eat any salmon that month, I'll go get a vitamin B12 shot because I don't want to be deficient in that. By not having a vitamin B12, I know that it can cause neurological deficits for me. So I don't want to have that to happen. So I will eat salmon that is only wild caught. If it's farm raised, I won't touch it.
Yeah. So I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about these the medicine. So go ahead real quick, Key.
So before you get to the side effects, the other two, the first one was the anticoagulants, the next one was the ACE inhibitors, and the third one was the diuretics. So talk to us a little bit about the different types of heart medications and any potential side effects that kind of jump out at you. Then that's for either one of you guys.
Which one you want to take, Twana?
Talk about the diuretics.
Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, usually, like in case like what she was saying before, patients who actually have the edema, in which that's what she was pertaining to, the swelling. Those diuretics are very essential to eliminate that excess fluid, to release that pressure from around that organ itself. I mean, that has to also be taken in consideration, but you also have to take it as prescribed. Okay. I can tell you that personally from myself. I actually took a little bit over the prescribed amount one day, but that was because I was actually having, and this was one time thing that actually occurred. So I'm not a particular person that takes diuretics all the time, but to relieve that pressure and get it off of you in a rapid amount of time, that's one of the quickest ways that they usually would give you the diuretics for, or reasons for giving you the diuretics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I would actually speak on with the same reference to diuresis, should I say. Go to your next one.
Yeah, but to piggyback on Twana about the diuretics, when you talk about those, I'm not going to go back and explain to you what it is because you just did, but we're going to talk about those side effects. Okay?
Yeah.
Side effects of those diuretics. Okay? Now, if the doctor prescribes you, like Twana said, if you take too much, you will start to feel funny. Okay? And what those diuretics can cause is your potassium levels to drop. It can cause your magnesium levels to drop. And they are called electrolytes. Okay, when those two electrolytes, when they drop, you can go into a cardiac arrhythmia, a deadly one called ventricular tachycardia, VTAC, is what we call it.
Oh, that's what, okay.
All right. So you want to be careful with the diuretics. You want to take it as the doctor prescribed. And if you start feeling like any cramps, Charlie horses. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Don't eat a banana. Eat a sweet potato. That has the highest potassium.
The quickest we will go to is a banana. You're right, but
Yeah, that doesn't have
Yeah.
no, right. But the sweet potato has more.
That's the highest. But to talk on the anticoagulants, your blood thinners, Kiara, you missed the most important one. Bayer.
That aspirin.
Aspirin.
Yes.
That's the one you missed. And that's the one that you guys can get right over the counter. The other ones, those are the high heavy ones that we mess with. So I'm like, what does she know about that? Why is she all in our business?
I told you I was putting my hat on real quick.
I'm like, let's talk about the ones that's over the counter. I'm not even going to touch on the ones that we do, okay? Let's talk about the ones that's over the counter, all right? These are the ones that if you feel that you are having a heart attack, or if you had a heart attack in the past, you should immediately take, I can't tell you what to take. But what I can say is that we normally, in the ED, if we have somebody that did not take any aspirin, we normally give them 4 of the 81 milligram aspirin. That's what we do in the ED. I'm not telling people what to take. All right. I just want to make sure I put that out there. All right. But if you know that you have a history of heart attacks and you just take one a day because your doctor told you to, then you should. But also be aware that you are at high risk for bleed. A man can be in there shaving himself, and all of a sudden he just start bleeding. Then he can't stop. Well, geez, it just won't stop. Get a Band-Aid. Women, we could be shaving our legs or whatever have you. You taking a bare aspirin, your legs it just won't stop. Those are some of the side effects. It's hard for aspirin. There's a reversal of aspirin. Once it gets started, it takes 7 days for it to get out of your system. 7.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. What was that other medication that you mentioned right quick?
The ACE inhibitors and it says it's used to treat cardio conditions like high blood. Those are your high blood pressure medicines.
Yes. We're talking about our ACE inhibitors, all right? The ACE inhibitors, there's more than that one, but the ones that I always say that are important ones are the ones that work on the heart and the ones that work on the kidneys. The ones that work on the kidneys, those are your ACE inhibitors, your lisinopril, your Zestril, all those things that end in IL. Those are your ACE inhibitors, okay? But the other ones that deal with the hearts are your beta blockers, the metoprolol, the propranolol, anything that ends in OL. Those are the ones that end for your heart. So you have those blood pressure medications that work on the heart to strengthen that heart because it's weak, to lower your blood pressure, but also to control the muscular activity of the heart. But then you have those IL, Zestril, lisinopril, those ACE inhibitors that work on your kidneys. Because you might be an African American that are not diuresing very well. So they want to pull the fluid off by working on your kidneys. They pull the fluid off with the ACE inhibitors by working on the kidneys. They pull the fluid off or they control your blood pressure and your heart rate by working on that heart part is able to expelling that blood out so you can just get it through your system and eventually it'll get to your kidneys. If y'all can understand that. I hope I understood.
No, you're good.
Dry.
That was you said a mouthful, but yeah, I got that.
The ills, the lils, the lows, we got it.
All in the ills.
That's right. The alls and the ills. That's right.
Yeah,
that's why I kind of did it that way because that kind of helps it to stick. If it's the alls and you know it's the heart, if it's ills, like it's the kidneys.
Kidneys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, because we're running out of time, but I want to ask, tell us about the genetics.
Oh. What do you want to hit on that a little bit?
Yes. Somebody tell us about the genetics.
You are what your ancestors eat.
And a lot of times us African Americans, we have to admit it, that we do tend to follow what our family members from back when. But then again, some of them ate healthy, like Shay was saying, ate food that was cooked and whatnot. But nowadays, like she's saying, remember we were just speaking about the individuals, the young individuals that are seriously in trouble at this point in their lives because of the non-healthy lifestyles that they choose to follow with. Mm-hmm. They're not following with foods and things, or even, like I said, lifestyles of our elders. Yep. Genetics, on the other hand, like I say, it does play a big role. So,
if you have a family member, not to cut you off, Tawana, because I know Reverend Jackie's pressed, If you have a family member that you have don't think it cannot happen to you. You are at risk. Why? Because you're eating the same food that they did. Now, what if you're not eating the same food that they did and you change your diet? Then you have lessened your risk, but you're still at risk because you have a family history. Okay, but you have lessened the risk, maybe 50 to 60%, but you're still at risk because you have a family history. Okay? The best way to stop it, because I grew up with, in New Jersey, going to the food stores, getting the pizzas, the potato chips, and everything else, and then I also grew up in North Carolina as well, to where my grandma, she raised all of her animals and she planted all of her food. So I have the best of two worlds. But grandma, she cooked with lard, So, and she made these biscuits with that lard and put cheese in the biscuits, and she used a bunch of milk and stuff. And I'm like,
cast iron skillet.
Exactly. So you have to think about things that was going to help you. I used what my grandmother has taught me and my mom has taught me how to cook, but I just made it healthier. So, yeah.
Wow.
Genetics play a big role.
Yes. And last but not least, real quick, let's talk about the I think we touched on exercise. I guess we kind of really did touch on the exercise and the food. Are there any other tips or things that you can share with anybody that could help them, as they're on this journey of staying out of the danger zone or getting out of the danger zone?
I can say that people need to figure out what their why is. What is your why? Because right now, everybody is in this thing we call the pre-contemplation stage. They don't think that it can happen to them.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but
wow.
then you have those that are in the contemplation stage and say, you know what, I know I really need to do better, but it's not there yet. Okay? And then you have other people that move up a level to the next stage, which is actually the action stage. Okay, well, this week I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise. It's the beginning of the year. There we go. And it lasts for 3 weeks. Then you have the maintenance stage. That's my stage. That's 6 months or more. Then you have the relapse. You have to understand what your why is. Why are you doing this? And it's like I tell, my cousin, she throws this in my face all the time. She said, you got me back exercising. And I said, why? She said, because you told me that I am important. That's my why. I am important. My body is my temple. I refuse to put something into it that's going to hurt it. I'm important. And you need to tell yourself every day that you are important. And believe it. Don't just say it, believe it. And get out of the pre-contemplation, out of the contemplation stage, and get into the action and implementing it. Get in there more than 6 months to where you are maintaining and stay there. Why? Say it all together. I am important.
I am important. Yeah.
That's why I do it. That's my why.
That's your why. All right, ladies. Well, that'll shut us up for the night. For the moment. Y'all know Victory Talk. We can talk a lot. But we are speaking life, and I really try to have, some guests and topics of, that are important, that are going to help us encourage life, encourage growth, encourage how we think. Our motto is change your mind, change your mindset, change your life, change the way you live, your lifestyle. So that's what Victory Talk is all about. So I'm so excited about this conversation. I'm a little sad that it's over because I feel like we had so much more information to cover. But please, if you have any questions, any thoughts or concerns? Shay, can they reach out to you? Tawana, can they reach out to you? How can they, just bend your ear or send a message? How can if someone needs a coach, how can they reach you?
Well, a lot of people reach me via Facebook, Shay Brown, or either Instagram Live. If you send me an instant message and I don't know you, just say, you know what, I heard you on Victory Talk with Miss J, and I had a couple of questions. Would you be available to answer? So, I mean, I'm in the process of building my own website as well, because with this health coach thing going on, I definitely want to reach a lot more people. And if I can do that via Zoom meetings or having conversations with them, because I feel to believe that a lot of our barriers are mental. And if I can get inside your head, just like I know I got inside of some heads just now, we can make major changes. So give me until next month to get this website up. I have not been doing that because, as you know, Jackie, I have been distracted very much.
So, that's all right. It's understandable.
The Lord just blessed me tonight with someone that said they're going to put my website together just for $100. And I instantly started crying because I know this dude charged close to $3,000. And I asked him why.
Wow.
Just want to be a part of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So the website be up next
Walk the road. Walk the road. He'll send you your help.
That's right. That God is so good.
He'll send you your help.
That is my faith.
Awesome.
And my my email address is twanah@yahoo.com.
I can share that on our page.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Phil says she just shared it.
Yes, that's a safe one. Yeah.
Awesome. So to our viewers, please. One of the viewers said, please have this again soon. We will do our very best, Miss Belinda. We will do our very best. So to our viewers, we thank you for joining in with us tonight. Key, you have anything before we go?
I just wanted to throw out a couple of the heart healthy tips that I found really, really quickly, because some of these just sounded really good. So some suggestions are engage in hobbies, eat fiber, listen to music, laugh, stretch, avoid salt, eat chocolate, have dark chocolate. I didn't say that, but I'm saying dark chocolate, avoid fat, have breakfast, take the stairs, and know your numbers and find your happy place.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like those. Yes. Can
Yes.
you make sure you share those on our Victory Talk page?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that our producer does not have a coronary over here in the corner.
Well, at least you know what the signs and symptoms are. I said, at least you know what the signs and symptoms are.
So if I duck out, y'all know what's going on. All right, everybody. We thank you, viewers, for joining in tonight to this edition of Victory Talk. We look forward to having you again back with us next Friday night, where we have another set of guests that are going to come in and share some informative information. Y'all know I'm not going to give it away. I'm not telling y'all what the topic's going to be. You just going to have to tune in. Turn up your antennas. Thank you both, Tawana Williams and Shay Brown. Thank you to my co-host, Key. I love you, girl.
Love you back.
And we are going to say good night. We love you. And we look forward to chatting again with you real soon. Peace and blessings. Good night.